Hey, what is going on Twintendo Nation? Hope you're having an awesome day. In today's video we're going to be going over one of my favourite things about Pokemon that we've not seen happen on a big scale since Pokemon Diamond and Pearl came out 13 years ago. This is obviously new evolutions for old Pokemon. Whilst we did get Sylveon back in 2013's Pokemon X and Y, we've not had any other new evolutions of old Pokemon since Generation 4. Now it's fair to expect a new evolution this generation, so most likely we will be getting at least one new evolution in Generation 8, but what would happen if Game Freak decided to reintroduce evolving old Pokemon for more than just one? I'll be going over the top 5 new evolutions I'd like to see for Pokemon Sword and Shield. The Pokemon on this list are based on a combination of how much I personally want these Pokemon to get an evolution, as well as how competitive these Pokemon are in terms of their in-game stats. Also, for a Pokemon to be eligible for this list, I've chosen Pokemon that don't have any Mega Evolutions and pre-evolutions, just to make it a bit easier. So if you do enjoy today's video, make sure to hit that like button down below, and if you want to stay up to date with all things Pokemon Sword and Shield, hit that subscribe button as well. Also, question of the day, which Pokemon would you like to see get an evolution for Pokemon Sword and Shield? Let me know in the comments below. And with all that being said guys, let's start the video. Starting us off is probably the most forgettable Pokemon in the entire Pokédex, and it really needs an evolution to help it stand out more. This Pokemon is the cactus Pokemon Maractus. Like a lot of Generation 5 Pokemon, Maractus is a peculiar one. Competitively, it's not awful as it has a base stat of 461, but it's just so average. We already have a cactus Pokemon in Cacturne that is stronger than Maractus, with a base attack and special attack of 115, whilst Maractus' stats are all average beside its special attack, which is 106. Also, when you compare it to other grass type Pokemon from its generation, like Lilligant, Maractus looks even more pathetic, as Lilligant, which already has better stats, can learn Quiver Dance, making it a very competitive Pokemon. Maractus on the other hand has no redeemable moves it can learn, as Roselia and Cacturne are better spikes users than Maractus. The only thing going Maractus' way is that it has 3 good abilities with Chlorophyll, which doubles its speed if Sunny Day is active, Storm Drain, which makes the Pokemon immune to water type attacks and raises its special attack if hit by a water type move, and finally Water Absorb, which restores a quarter of its max HP if hit by a water type move. 3 very good abilities, but still not good enough for most trainers to consider it for battle, which is why I think this Pokemon is forgotten so much, as we have similar cactus Pokemon like Cacnea and its evolution Cacturne, which honestly are just better in battle. This is a real shame, as I think Maractus is a well designed Pokemon and deserves better. Since it's forgotten so much, I'd like to see Maractus get an evolution so it can finally reach the potential it should have been given in the first place. A good design for an evolution for Maractus comes from Smiley Fakemon. This is actually a Mega Evolution design, which honestly wouldn't be a bad option for Maractus either, but I think the design also works well for a potential evolution. Maractus is definitely one of my first picks for a new evolution, but the reason I placed it at number 5 is that its base stats aren't dreadful like we'll see with the remaining Pokemon on this list. Following on from Maractus is possibly the most pitiful Pokemon in existence that for all the world looked like it was getting an evolution in Generation 5, but never did. This is the rendezvous Pokemon Luvdisc. Poor little Luvdisc. Essentially, the only use for this Pokemon is to catch one in case it's holding a heart scale, which you would then use on a Pokemon you love more than Luvdisc, which is pretty ironic for a Pokemon that's based on love. After being overlooked for 2 generations, it finally looked like Luvdisc was getting a reprieve in Generation 5, but alas, Alola Mola, which everybody thought was Luvdisc's evolution, turned out to be a standalone Pokemon. Luvdisc desperately needed this evolution as it has an abysmal base stat of 330, with its highest stat being speed. There's not much point in having great speed when you don't have the attack to follow up with. Luvdisc is up there with the worst Pokemon to battle with, so it serves no purpose. I have no idea how Ash's Grovyle actually lost to one of these puny Pokemon, but that must have been some sort of fluke. A potential design for a Luvdisc evolution comes from Fatmon. Like Maractus, this is supposed to be a Mega Evolution, but I think it would work really well as an evolution design. Luvdisc really needs an evolution more than most Pokemon, but I'm personally not a big fan of it anyway, so that's why I put it at number 4 on this list. Next up is one of the more gimmicky Pokemon out there and serves no real purpose. This is the delivery Pokemon Delibird. Originally I was going to choose Smeargle over Delibird as I didn't want 2 Pokemon with strange unique moves. Now the more I looked into Smeargle, I realised how useful it could be. I think Sketch is a brilliant move, but Smeargle has some of the lowest stats in the game. However, it can be very usable with the right setup. Delibird on the other hand, well, that's a completely different story. Delibird has the same base stats of Luvdisc at 330 with its signature move Present, which has different effects with a 40% probability of doing 40 base power, 10% doing 120 base power and 20% healing the opponent. It's not a very good Pokemon. Also, the move Present is a normal type move, so it has no type advantages, and the accuracy is also 90%, so it is prone to missing as well as just being a pretty weak move. I think this is a real shame because I think Delibird's design has a lot of potential as well as having a great unique typing in Ice Flying that it only shares with Articuno. Now there aren't too many evolution designs out there for Delibird, so I decided to go with Dragonif's Mega design as an evolution concept. I personally like to see Delibird grow a bit bigger and have a few more design changes, but I do like Dragonif's design and I would love to see Delibird get an evolution for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Just missing out on number 1 is another Johto Pokemon that the majority of Pokemon fans agree that it needs an evolution. This is the land snake Pokemon Dunsparce. Now Dunsparce is a very peculiar and pitiful Pokemon. Its design is quite strange and it has these little wings that it can use to only just get off the ground, and also according to a lot of Pokedex entries it says that Dunsparce live underground by drilling the ground with their tails. So this Pokemon has wings and lives underground, yet somehow it's just a plain old normal type. Dunsparce has a total base stat of 415, which is better than Luvdisc and Delibird, but with the majority going into HP, Dunsparce is a slow, weak and defensively poor Pokemon. Essentially, its HP stat is papering over the cracks. Now personally, I like Dunsparce as a Pokemon and I'd love to see it get an evolution and possibly even a type change. I know a lot of us would like to see Dunsparce evolve into a big powerful dragon flying type rather than just its plain old normal type, which honestly for me doesn't really suit Dunsparce. Now a good potential evolution design for Dunsparce comes from the fan game Pokemon Uranium. This evolution is called Serif and is a dragon flying type and looks absolutely superb. For me, this would be a dream evolution for Dunsparce and I would love to see something like this in Pokemon Sword and Shield because this thing would definitely be on my team. Taking the number 1 spot is a Pokemon that has needed an evolution longer than any other Pokemon in the entire Pokedex. This is the Wild Duck Pokemon Farfetch'd. So as a kid, I always used to think Farfetch'd was related to Doduo and Dodrio since they're next to each other in the Pokedex, but alas, this duck is alone. Farfetch'd has dreadful stats, and even though they were boosted in Pokemon Sun and Moon like a few other Pokemon, they still stand at an awful 377. Imagine getting your stats boosted and you're still under 400. With frail defenses and poor speed, Farfetch'd is outclassed by pretty much every other flying type. I think this is a real shame as I absolutely love the design of Farfetch'd, and I think it's finally time this Pokemon got a brand new form and the power it deserves. In fact, Farfetch'd was supposed to get an evolution back in Pokemon Gold and Silver, but for whatever reason, it was scrapped by Game Freak. Now I personally think this was a really bad decision, as Farfetch'd desperately needed it, and 20 years on, it's still the same leek-wielding duck it always was. I mean, look at the scrap design. I don't see anything wrong with it, and I don't get why Game Freak just got rid of it. Sure, it looks a little dated compared to Pokemon designs nowadays, but I'm sure they could have created a very cool samurai evolution, which this beta Farfetch'd evolution seems to be based on. Now my favourite evolution concept for Farfetch'd is called Rapscallion and it's by Phoenix Song. I absolutely love the design and think it looks like a very natural evolution. Here's hoping that Farfetch'd and all the other Pokemon mentioned in today's video get the evolution they deserve in Pokemon Sword and Shield. So guys, that is my top 5 new evolutions I'd like to see in Pokemon Sword and Shield. This video could probably have been a top 10, there were a few Pokemon that I omitted in the end, but it has been quite a while since I made a top 5. So let me know in the comments if there's any Pokemon you think I missed, and remember, question of the day, which Pokemon personally do you want to see get an evolution the most and why? And also guys, if you did enjoy today's video, make sure to hit the like button down below, it's super appreciated. And if you want to stay up to date with everything Pokemon Sword and Shield, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well. It also looks like we're having a pretty busy Pokemon month next month since it's E3, and there's going to be a lot of news to look forward to soon guys. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, I hope you have an awesome day, and I will see you on the next video. Peace!